There are different schools of thought that explain why goal setting works. One school of thought is this one. It says in simple words that goal setting works because ultimately, once the athlete is involved into smart goal setting, then ultimately this contributes to the increase of the athlete's self-confidence. And of course, these are interrelated also, his anxiety will be reduced. There is another school of thought according to which, yes, goal setting works because it mobilizes effort, some effort from the athlete side, which result in increased motivation, and this is the reason why it works. Actually, recently, theorists tend to believe that the direct mechanistic view is closer to the reasons why smart goal setting works, but I would dare to say that both views are correct. Some general guidelines about goal setting. I don't want to lose any set in the forthcoming match, an athlete says. Is this a smart goal? Is it a specific goal? It is. Okay, we're talking about a specific match. It's best of 5 or best of 7, I don't know. In your age, I think it's best of 5, yes? In your athlete's age, sorry. So it's very specific. But why state it like that? We have two negative elements in the same statement. I don't want is a negation. Lose is a verb with a negative meaning. Why not state it in a more positive manner? And yes, theorists also have proved that positively stated goals are helping more. So the same sentence can be rephrased to I want to win every single set of the forthcoming match, for example. Okay? Yes, we always have to be specific. I want to become a better player does not say anything at all. And also, you know better than me that the development of the athlete is a constellation of factors. There are so many things sometimes that the athlete needs to improve that you don't know where to start from. So it's the coach's here job to prioritize the goals. If you set 10 goals, 10 short-term goals at the same time, the outcome will be that the athlete will be confused. So it will be confusion. And instead of motivating the athlete in the end because he will keep or she will keep facing failure, he will be demoralized as well. So we have to prioritize the goals. I would say 3, 4 short-term goals are enough. And then we review and we change. We have always to record, review, and record progress. That's an educational process for the athlete also. Sometimes one strategy does not work, then the athlete has to learn that in his case, he has to use an alternative strategy. It's an educational process. And as I said, and I promise that I will keep repeating, short-term goals should be slightly above what we can do. Okay, I mentioned 3, 4 times already the word SMART. SMART is an English word, as you all know, but in this case, it is an acronym. An acronym that you will come across in many different versions. I have written 2, 3 versions for you, but let's see the essence also. So we have this version. The goal should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-based. I will explain to you what each of. You may see it in this version, or you may see it in this version, or there is another version which is SMARTS. SMARTS with S at the end. Principle with self-determined being added at the end. So, but all of these versions of SMART, of the SMART acronym are correct. The essence is here. As we said, we always need to set specific and measurable goals. I want to improve my backhand spin. Is it measurable? Well, if you have a way to assess this, yes, it is measurable. Do you have an objective way to assess this? That today he's performing 2, tomorrow 3, if you have. If you don't have, better to refer to process goals. How are you going to improve backhand spin if you dedicate, instead of 1 hour per week, 2 hours per week on backhand spin training, for example? Okay? So if you cannot measure the goal, try to break it down to process goals. This will help the athlete to get more and more involved, instead of having something abstract floating around. So, attainable. I want to be the number one in world ranking tomorrow. Is that possible? Probably it is possible for 3-4 athletes in the world, but for common athletes, it's not possible. So we have to be careful with the statements also. It should be attainable. Relevant, realistic. Okay, we are playing table tennis. We cannot set a goal for football that we are playing in the afternoon with our friends. We have to be also careful and time-bound. In the next 4 months, in the next 3 months, I want to do this. This is time-bound. So, always set specific measurable goals. Once, you will see that in your athletes, once they achieve a short-term goal, then we have added a small bit to what we call self-confidence. 1 bit at a time. And in the long run, his or her self-confidence will have been increased significantly. And also, as I mentioned already, it is an educational process. Of course, a serious athlete will consider, it's a reflective process also. Will sit down and will consider the reasons why he failed probably to meet a short-term goal. And then he will discuss with his coach, with sports science team, why did we fail? Yeah, and then alternative strategies will be used. Sometimes we have the phenomenon that is called parents. I'm a parent also, so don't take offense of that. We all believe that our children are the best in the world. They can be super duper athletes. The coach actually has not found yet the hidden potential of the athlete. There's huge potential, enormous potential in the athlete, but the coach is not, okay, I'm exaggerating, is not competent enough to disclose, to reveal this potential. Okay? The truth is that, yes, it's good to always have some faith in your children, but I would consider, including me as well, we should always talk to the experts. We should always talk to the experts and see what we can do in the immediate future, instead of bombarding our sons and daughters with huge expectations. Huge expectations in the end will lead to what? Will lead to probably a series of failures, and then it will have the opposite effect. In the end, the athlete will lose self-confidence. So, okay, it's good to adore our children, but let's talk to the experts also. Okay? So, another factor is that, yes, there is lack of knowledge, especially at the age of the athletes that you have with you now, 12-year-olds. They don't have enough knowledge about the sport. And as I said, this is an educational process, and the athlete gets familiarized with skills, with his strengths, weaknesses, everything that is needed in order to become an elite table tennis player. Also, we have the phenomenon of lazy athletes. All of us have seen lazy athletes, of course. Some athletes, they don't want, and in order not to disappoint the coach or their parents, they set goals at a very low level within their comfort zone, so that they will achieve them for sure. They are too lazy, they don't want to invest time. Or we have the phenomenon of boys or girls who display failure avoidant behavioral patterns. They are scared to face failure. So in which case, actually, we have to be more careful. We have to maybe consult with a sports psychologist as well. Even if, when we achieve a goal, we have to, meaning I'm an athlete also, so when the athlete achieves a goal, it means that it's an opportunity for him or her to sit down and consider the extent to which the goal was hard or easy. Was it achieved very easily? Was it achieved in a very difficult way? So he or she will adjust the goals accordingly. Or did it take too long to achieve it? So that he or she will make the next goals easier. As I said, it's an educational process, it's an ongoing process, it's a reflective process also for the athlete. And also, if we are talking about a serious athlete that he really wants to improve, a failure may lead to these questions. Either he didn't try enough, or, as I said, the way he used was not effective. For example, I want to lose weight, and I sit down with a dietitian here, and he is giving me a very good diet plan. After 4 months, I haven't lost any weight. And then I talk to the strength and conditioning coach, who tells me, but you never did any aerobic activity. So I realized that I have to change my strategy to include actually aerobic activity in my goal setting process. Okay? The truth is that the development of the athletes is a game of snakes and ladders, and that's why we, the experts, we are there to help them actually continue their struggle towards achieving a better level of performance. So that's a summary of goal setting. We have to use the SMART principle whenever we set goals. We have, with the help of the coach, prioritize the goals. 3 or 4 short-term goals are enough. And it's better to phrase them positively also. And as I said again, goal setting is an important process by means of which the athlete realizes, the coach actually realizes how committed the athlete is in his sport, and the athlete realizes what is important for him or her to achieve, and of course, it motivates the athlete. Ultimately, it helps him increase his level of motivation.